what's up? It's the Morning Momentum, and it is May 30th, Memorial Day. I'm Richie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are so glad that you are joining us today.
Yes.
Beautiful day. I'm excited. It's the official start to the summer. I don't know, I guess unofficial? Because
I would say unofficial.
Unofficial start to the summer because, this is the day that swimming pools all mark the beginning of their season. Mm-hmm. And that tells you big time that the summer's coming. This is the day that beach houses go up in price.
Yes.
And this is typically a day that we get outside, barbecue, and play a little cornhole.
Why do you think that is? Why did they pick Memorial Day to open pools? Just felt right?
Yeah, it just felt right, I guess.
Felt right.
Ethan, Memorial Day used to not hold a whole lot of clout to me except for the fact that it was the start of the summer. Mm-hmm. And, I've talked about it on air before. I got to spend some time working at a military surplus store at one point in my life. I've never served in the military. Ethan, you've never served in the military. I have family members that have. But one of the coolest things was being able to sit down and talk to World War II vets, Korean vets. They're few to come by. There's not a whole lot of them left. Yeah. And to hear some of their stories, some of the guys that jumped out on D-Day were paratroopers jumping into fields, not knowing what they were landing in, is just unbelievably crazy. The stories just, I could sit and listen to them for hours. And so, this day we remember those that gave their life, and that's what Memorial Day is all about.
Yeah.
And so, besides being just Memorial Day, Ethan, we have come to learn through this podcast that there are many national holidays that we don't typically celebrate.
That's correct.
And I'm assuming that Memorial Day is no different, that May 30th, we have some other national holidays.
That we do. And usually when I say these, I only say a couple, and there are a ton more.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. Have you yet to find out how we can get our own national holiday?
I haven't.
We need to figure this out.
Morning Momentum Day.
We'll
take it off.
M&M Day.
Would it be on a Monday or Friday, you think, if we were to do that?
Oh, Friday, definitely. If we're going to take a day off,
Friday.
Let it be Friday.
Yeah, that's true. Today is National Creativity Day.
Okay.
I don't know. Be creative. Do some fun stuff. You do crafts. You could build something, paint something.
Speaking of building, did you ever have shop class in school?
They took it away right before I got there.
Oh, man. So maybe you did this in science class. I don't know. We had this competition, I guess, per se, where we would take popsicle sticks and build a bridge out of it.
Okay.
And then we would hang weights from it to see which bridge could hold the most weight. Did you ever do that?
We never did that in science class, no. But I've seen it done.
It was a lot of fun.
Did yours win?
Actually, yes.
Very nice.
Yes. Yeah, we were very good at that type of thing. Myself and my buddies, we did that. I didn't do shop in high school. I did mechanical drawing all through high school, so I understood how all that different stuff worked, and it was just a big thing of mine. I loved.
Very cool.
Loved designing.
We had a couple science projects I remember from middle school that I think did very well. Okay. We did one where, the mousetrap car?
Yeah.
You ever do that?
Yeah.
Right? So I had a partner, and they were like, you have to make a car go the farthest using a mousetrap. And so everyone was building cars and looking them up online, probably, because they were pretty good for middle schoolers. Me and my partner were like, we got this. This is easy. We made a little Lego car, tied a piece of string on it, took a bunch of string out, tied it to the end, made a little catapult, and just shot that car across the room.
That's legit.
And we won. But the teacher wasn't as happy as for other projects who were using it as a motor.
I think that's legit, though.
It was awesome. I still have it.
Do you really?
I do.
You should bring it in sometime.
Okay.
You know where it's at?
It's in my room.
Sweet.
I'm proud of it.
You should bring it in sometime. That's pretty cool. I was terrible at art. You are an artist.
That I am.
We have figured that out even here during worship. I was terrible at art, but when it came to designing things on like AutoCAD or drafting things, which is a type of drawing, I loved it and I excelled at it. I love the smell. This is going to be really bad. I love the smell of ammonia in the air. So like whenever they were, printing, you had those printers and it smelled so bad, but that's when you knew you were printing blueprints. And that was awesome stuff.
That's interesting.
So today's creative day. Be creative.
Creativity day.
Be creative with your day off.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
I'll do one more here, which I like. It's National Water a Flower Day. Just spread some care to the world.
Water a flower.
Water a flower.
Okay.
I guess.
All right. But make sure it's only one flower.
Just one single flower. A little bit of water on it. Help it grow.
Are you committed to that?
Yes. It's just one flower.
It's just one. Oh man, that's awesome.
Help out a little bit.
Yeah. So it's been a good week, and it's been a lot of fun. This past Sunday, you were gone, and you got a short little vacation. Got to go see your sister again, which was really cool. For us at church, we honored our student athletes, our student. Some of the kids were like in choir. Some of them are in color guard. We've got a wide range of people that come to Movement Church, which is really cool.
Yeah, very talented.
But what some people don't know is this church also has a softball team. Are you on that softball team, Ethan?
That I am. I am on that softball team.
Did you ever play baseball, softball growing up?
Nope.
So how's it going for you?
I get some plays. Sometimes I miss them. It happens. It's fun.
We have a good time.
A lot of fun, yeah. Yeah. I remember last season, there was a team that was mad at us because we weren't good. And we were just having fun.
And we were having fun even though they were beating us bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I remember that one too. And then there were other churches that had fun with us.
Yeah.
And then there were other ones that were just... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. We don't need to talk about those churches.
It's fun, though, when you have a group of people that are there to just have fun.
Yeah, I struggle, though, man. Like, I'm just going to be real with you. Like, I'm competitive. And sometimes I'm competitive to a fault. And so, like, when it gets to going something, sometimes, like, my old tendencies come out. And it's like I get frustrated, and then I have to, like, woo-saw to, like... decommit from the situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a baseball coach now, so I feel like in the game situation, you probably still have that mindset to make sure we do well.
I do. Like I'm watching something, all of a sudden, like the coach mentality in me wants to come out, and then it's like, okay, I got to step back. And so this year, I'm not coaching the softball team.
Yeah. You're out on the field with us.
I'm out on the field a little bit with you guys, and so far free from injury.
So far. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. But
yes.
So it's been fun. It's cool. The game of softball is much different than the game of baseball, and so sometimes that's hard to adjust. But it's a good time, and we have fun with friends and stuff.
A lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah. So, would you say that you're committed to the softball team?
In terms of my commitment to other things, not as much, no. But I am, in a sense, because I, still play on Fridays.
You do, and you do very well.
Thank you.
So in your words, how would you define commitment?
Commitment. C-O-M... No, this isn't the spelling bee.
I said define.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Define,
yes.
not spell.
Okay. Commitment. I would say this is one of those things where you know what it means, but it's hard to define.
I agree with you. It is. That's why I'm asking you.
It's just you committing, right?
You know what's tough about this is that you know what it means, but the reality of it is that commitment looks so differently to everybody.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So,
Right.
like, for example, some people, when they say I'm committed, that means I'm 100% in 100% of the time. For other people, they say I'm committed, and that means I'm going to show up when I can show up, and I don't really care what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about words like this, I think sometimes it kind of depends on the way that you look at things.
Yeah. I guess commitment would be like trying as hard as you can at one thing. Because at first I was thinking like whatever you're committing to would be at the most important thing that you're looking at in your life. But I feel like that's not true. So I feel like it's just putting the most effort you can into one specific thing. I'm committed to watering a flower today. I will water that flower. But it's not. That's not at the top of my list of things I'm ranking, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I think is tough, because I think that commitment, hear me out on this. I think that commitment is a lot like the word love as well. All right? So you can say, I love you. You can say, love you. You can say, I love that. I love to eat that. I love to shop there. That word love holds different weights depending on how it is that you're discussing things. And so I feel like commitment kind of holds the same thing. You agree, disagree?
Yeah, I think I would agree.
So if I say that I'm committed to this podcast, or I say that I'm committed to my wife, there's probably a different commitment level, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. And so when we talk about this in the general idea of how things are, one of the things that we talked about this past Sunday is commitment. And one of the terminologies that church people use sometimes whenever you surrender your life to Christ is are you committing yourself to Christ? Are you committed to live your life in this lifestyle? Are you committed to make a change in the way that you are living your life? Those type of things. And so whenever you look at that in the roundabout way, I think that commitment holds such a high level. However, the reality of it is that I don't think that we honestly grip the reality of how committed we should actually be.
Yeah. There's different levels of importance to commitments.
Yeah.
Watering a flower isn't as important as my commitment to my relationship with God. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I realized early on in my ministry. Now, I'm not going to say this. I didn't realize this at all with my relationship with Christ when I first started following Christ. I did not realize this at all. In fact, it wasn't really ever explained to me very much, to be honest with you. But like when I got into ministry and started actually understanding some of the stuff, I realized that there was a defined difference between a pure heart and a mature character. And so as Christians, we believe that when you repent, that you are made clean.
Yes.
You have to believe that, because if you don't believe that you're made clean at that point, then what you're doing is denying the whole idea of repentance in itself anyways. And so if you truly wholeheartedly repent, you are made clean. But because of our sinful natures and tendencies, we do screw up. And so therefore, we're not pure for very long. Okay? However, there is a difference between that taking place when you are saved, when you receive Christ into your life, and having a mature character. And I think that commitment comes a long way with both things. You have to grow into understanding what it means to be committed to that relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, think about, do you remember when you accepted Christ for the first time? I'm not saying that it's happened a bunch. I'm just saying, like, when you accepted Christ.
I would say yes. There's a couple. It's weird for me, right? Because when you grow up in the church as a kid, you would do it.
Yeah.
And I do remember that, honestly, when I was a little kid.
Like saying a prayer in kids' church or something, that type of thing? Or
I was in my family room.
Okay.
And I was like, I accepted God into my heart then. But I think fully, like, recognizing what it's about and committing would have been in high school. later in high school area.
Okay.
Like actually fully committing, understanding what it is.
So same type thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's the difference between saying, okay, I need God in my life, and then it took time to nurture and to grow, to understand what that commitment looks like, what it looks like to be committed to Christ. It took years.
Yeah.
And I think that where people get really down on themselves about is that for sometimes when you first accept Christ, you've seen a lot of people come to know Jesus, and they're on fire. Like when you come to know Jesus for the first time, you this fire burns, and there's something contagious about being around new Christians, and especially, I'm going to say this, especially teenage Christians. When you're around teenage Christians that accept Christ for the first time and they fully experience what God's about, there's this fire that burns. But the reality of it is that sometimes that fire, it's not sometimes, it's the reality of it, that fire tends to kind of dull down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the terminology burn out, because that would say that the Spirit's no longer with you, right? But I would say that it dulls down to the point that sometimes it's hard to even read. It's hard to see what's going on.
I would agree.
And so that maturity of where am I committed with this thing really has to step up and take shape. And I think that as Christians, though, sometimes let's be real, we expect too much.
Yeah.
Ethan, your mom was a huge part of a ministry that I was a part of not too long ago. And we got to minister to kids in inner Springfield community. Ethan, I cannot remember, were you a part of The Rock when we started that?
The Rock.
So probably not. So we started an inner city youth group for students that did not have that relationship with Christ yet. And one of the big thought process behind it is that we realized that throwing non-Christians into a Christian environment where you expect people to act correctly, to worship or to listen or to be a part of, was asking too much. And I know some people are going to disagree with that. However, to throw people into a situation like that and expect something that they have yet to be convicted of, or to understand, or to even know God, it can be very intimidating, and at times, quite frankly, it can just kind of turn you away. And so we started this ministry called The Rock, and The Rock was just a time where we got a chance to bring kids into a church, play basketball, give them a little bit of a snack, and to be able to spend 10 minutes talking about Jesus with them. So they met for 90 minutes, and 80 minutes they played basketball, 10 minutes they heard about Jesus. But in those 10 minutes, we were able to then reach so many kids' lives that never would have had that opportunity before.
Yeah.
And I think that the reality of being committed to Christ is also knowing that you're committed to reaching people on their playing field. And you can't expect people to come into your playing field and to be able to see and experience the same things that you're going through, because we're not to that point yet.
Yeah.
And I think too many times that as a church, we are guilty of, if you want to know Jesus, come to church with me. Where instead of having that conversation, the conversation is, if you want to know Jesus, let me tell you about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And reflecting Christ in the way that you act. That's why I struggle with softball.
Bring it all the way back around. Yeah, I agree. The church isn't there. This is weird. But the church isn't built for people to. It's not like a conversion center where people come in one end and go out the other. Christians, it's where we go and learn, and then we go out and then not convert, but help, tell people about God and that kind of thing. So definitely, it shouldn't be seen as you have to go into the church for this to start and take place. It's our job to go out there and do that. And I think, it definitely starts with, going to where they're at and helping there. I know at this church as well, what you were just talking about, we did like a open gym kind of thing. And so that kind of started to mix people from the surrounding community coming into the church, but we're playing basketball. But because of where we're at and what we're doing, it brings up the topic of conversation. And so these people that are playing basketball kind of start to get this understanding that definitely furthers their knowledge on the subject and their lives. So yeah, it's definitely going out and finding people where they're at to spread the word.
Yeah, I'll never forget a moment when we were trying to bring people in that did not have that relationship and asking them to sit quietly, to be a part of worship, to be a part of a message for 35 minutes. And it was a time where we had yet to have a worship team. And so I was leading worship with another kid in the youth group. And I remember being in the middle of a song and just watching kid after kid after kid after kid getting tossed out of youth group. And at that point, I wasn't in a spot just to stop because we had kids that were engaging in worship. Mm-hmm. But like I was also watching as all these kids were just getting thrown out. And I'm sitting here going like in my mind, what is happening here? And at the end of that night, after we had small groups and we had all this other stuff that happened, I remember sitting and talking with my leaders, and like most of my leaders were in tears, like I don't want to do this anymore. And it was one of the hardest times in ministry because you had to have that realization that what we were doing was not for everybody, and we had to learn how to adapt and how to be able to be there for people. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to say this, like as a Christian, if you consider yourself to be a Christian, you have to be committed to that idea.
Yeah.
That I get it. Coming into a church, you're sheltered, you're safe. If you talk about God, nobody is going to judge you. But at times in the world, somebody's going to be struggling, and you might bring up God, and they don't want to hear about your God. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, all of a sudden, you get turned down, and you shut down. Don't think of it as a turn down, shut down type thing. You look at it and say, okay, how can I reflect God then to you without speaking those words? Because mm-hmm. I don't want to turn around and walk away from somebody who shut me down. But I also want to be able to reflect the God that I know that can fix that situation and handle that situation. You know, we talked a week ago about the God of the flow, and I know that even in those situations, when somebody's really struggling and doesn't want to hear about how my God can work and move in that situation, that he's the God of the flow, and he's going to make things happen regardless. Mm-hmm. And you just have to be willing and be committed to that. And so it's Monday. It's Memorial Day. And I know that today you're committed to relaxing a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you something. Tomorrow you got to go back to work. I know. I'm the bearer of bad news, mm-hmm. but you got to go back to work. And you got to go not back to school unless you're in summer school. Mm-hmm. I've done that. I've been in summer school. That's a whole nother conversation for another podcast, though. But
maybe we'll get to it.
But listen, be committed to knowing that God's got you. Mm-hmm. And even if your day is terrible, even if you're dreading going back to work because the people you work with suck or whatever it is, it's perspective.
Yeah, it is perspective.
And when you look at it and say, hey, I'm going to conquer this day. I'm going to do what I can to make this day better. I'm going to do what I can to make the atmosphere around me better. Mm-hmm. And I know that my God can do that. I know that God works in big ways. Be committed to that.
Your commitment has to outweigh your uncomfortableness.
100%. That was good.
Thank you.
We'll quote that on Facebook.
Good.
So I know that you've got this. It's a nice day of relaxing. Then you got the rest of the week. But we're going to be back Friday. I promise you that.
Oh, yeah.
And we cannot wait to be back with you again. But go out, be committed, and know that God is in control and God's got big things ahead for you.
Yeah. Believe.
Do it.
Yeah, do it.
You got this.
We're here to push you on.
Yes.
And help you stay committed.
You're going to do big things. So go out, be creative today.
Oh, yeah.
Water a flower.
Water a flower.
And enjoy your family. And we'll see you on Friday.
See you then.
See you.